Hi, it's Shelby Hicks, the owner of the Goodbye Mortgage Company, and I am with Mark Swain. Sorry,
Yes.
and we are here to talk about one of our clients that we just worked with, and it was a really neat experience. It started with, or actually, tell us how you met him.
It was just a referral from a friend,
Mhm.
and he had actually had a bad experience with a realtor earlier 2022 when the market was going crazy.
Mhm.
She recommended a loan officer who said that he could get his loan done. They put something on their contract. He put up the option money and opened up escrow. And turns out whenever he tried to go get him qualified, he said he couldn't do it anymore. So fell out of contract, and he was pretty emotionally scarred from that.
I can
So
imagine. Yeah.
yeah, so I met him in August 2022, and y'all got him started with his loan.
Yeah, yeah. I remember you calling me and telling me that that he was a little bit timid based on his prior experience, and that it would go a long way to do one of our most valuable buyer programs and go ahead and get them full credit, income, and asset underwrite before we got there, just to confirm. And had they had done that ahead of time, I think they would have realized that there was going to be an issue with job history.
Right.
During COVID, there was so many issues created by job lapse and gaps of employment and all of these things that it really does take you know um, a professional's eye to kind of look at it and say, hey, underwriter, this is what we see, do you see the same thing? And being able to do that ahead of time really makes for a much better experience on the back end.
Right.
Right.
Right. Putting in the work on the front end to save you any surprises
Yeah,
while under
absolutely.
contract.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So that's actually something that we do for a lot of your clients, actually. So is the most valuable buyer
Right.
program. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
does that help you negotiate better on their behalf?
Yeah. I mean, just to let the listing agent know that hey, they are good to go. They're locked in pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
except just a couple things. Gives the listing agent and the seller a lot of confidence to proceed through a contract because there's so many contracts that just you know fall out of
Yeah,
contract
yeah,
because
yeah,
financing.
yeah. Yeah, it's probably one of our most um, beneficial features that we provide, and not every one of our investors do, but we have 3 or 4 of them that work really closely on those type of products. Now back to our client that we were able to help. One of the unique things that happened in this situation is that we ran into I say unique. We ran into some struggles, right?
Right.
Dealing with a lot of clients. Sometimes they don't always fit directly in the box like we want them to.
Sure.
And so sometimes we have to do a little bit of negotiating and things to make things happen. This client needed a little bit of assistance to make the numbers work, and the sellers were able to agree and negotiate.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, this was during the couple months where interest rates just went crazy, taxes came out, and unfortunately, it just didn't work for his DTI. And yeah, we had to negotiate with the listing agent because this is not a time anymore that the seller gets to just make their demands and they expect them to be met. This is a lot of people are so used to that now that they can't think back to pre-COVID
Yeah.
or even earlier, right? Where we're going to come together, or the seller isn't right here and they have to meet the seller. They're going to meet in the middle.
Right.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
negotiation. And
Yeah.
historically, that's how things have gone.
Exactly. More of a neutral market is, I think, kind of what we moved into. And we were able to make that happen. So, I mean, it just goes to show you that now is a wonderful time to buy. I mean, there's deals out there. If you loved a house 6 months ago, you could probably get one similar to it for a really good deal.
Right.
And not to concern yourself that much with interest rates because they come and go, and we'll refinance them when they get lower. And you just buy something that's within your budget. But I don't think
Right.
there's a bad time to buy a house.
You can always refinance the interest rate, but you can never refinance the principal, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
unfortunately for those who bought in the summer, who paid $50,000 over asking price, they can't refinance that. They might have gotten a mid-3 interest rate, but now you'll get a 6 or a 7, but you're paying, you're not going to pay 50 over, you're going to pay most likely below listing.
Well, they've trapped themselves in their property, essentially, because, if you did pay 50,000 over, how long will it take for that appreciation to catch up,
Right.
To where you're in an equitable position to either refinance or move, honestly. Even if you want to move, you have to pay a realtor, and where does that come out of? It's going to come out of your pocket now.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have a lot of people that are stuck in houses. So I think that if you didn't buy in the last year or 2 years, there's no better time to buy than right this second, I think.
Oh, yeah. And I looked at a presentation made by another real estate agent the other day, and it was showing the what ifs as far as the home valuation dropping, and where it would be, back to, right?
Yeah.
And if it's 5%, it's like, summertime or like early spring, and then it went all the way to 25%. And if it dropped 25%, it would still be in 2020. So it would still be after COVID hit, right? And everybody's freaking out because they're hearing the news, right?
Yeah.
And they don't know the reality of what's going on, right? Whenever the news compares midsummer or the high to, 3 months compared to the past 3 months, right?
Yeah.
Whenever we zoom out and we look at the past 10 years compared to this year or 2 years, 3 years ago, we're still way above where we were 2019 even.
Yeah.
So
my business partner uses a quick formula, and he said if you bought your house, within the last 10 years, excluding the last 3, right, and you look at it at a 10% appreciation, then you're about right there.
Right.
Whether you bought it 10 years ago, 10% appreciation, you're about right there. So if you take out, like you said, expand your view, 10 to 15 years, not in the last 36 to 48 months, you get a completely different picture, and you start feeling a lot better about where you are in the situation. And when you sell your house, and you're like, I still made $100,000.
Right. That's insane.
Buying this house in the last, 5 years.
Yeah.
And on top of that, having the tax benefit of, if you're married, you can take up to $500,000 away from your house and not pay any
zero
taxes
taxes.
on it. So, that is a huge win. That's a huge, huge win for people. And if we start looking at them from that perspective, then I think we'll be a lot happier with what we see.
Yeah. Instead of comparing it to the past 12 months,
like
18
the
months.
best time that's ever existed in history.
Right. We've never really seen real estate run up like the past 2 years.
Yeah. Never.
People
not in a long
getting
time.
50% equity in
a
a single year.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But it's the world we're living in, and I think it's going to be a little bit more normal. And I think we're finally getting into a period of time where people are starting to get used to this being the normal expectations. We were in a very above average environment for a few years, having interest rates under 4%. So
a lot
of people,
which and historically, right, it hasn't been like that.
No, we've actually been somewhere in the 5 to 7% range historically, which is right where we're sitting right now.
Yeah.
So, but again, you got to zoom out a little bit to appreciate that.
Yeah. Compared to what the news is saying again, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I really had to share. I think we bounced around a little bit, but we hit on a lot of good stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.